You think she's moved on, don't you? But what if I told you there's a way to make her miss you so badly? She won't stop thinking about you. Stick around, because I'm about to reveal 7 powerful steps that can flip the game in your favor. Here's the truth. Women are emotional creatures, and if you know how to play the emotional cards right, you can create a lasting impression in her mind. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding the psychology behind attraction and using it to your advantage. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to make her miss you so much she'll be the one chasing you. Let's dive right in. You might think she's forgotten about you, that she's moved on, but here's what most men don't realize. When you truly understand how a woman's mind works, you can leave such a deep impression on her that no amount of distraction will stop her from thinking about you. What makes a woman miss you isn't your constant presence or a flood of texts. It's your absence, your ability to occupy her thoughts, even when you're nowhere around. You don't need to play mind games or become someone you're not. You simply need to know how to evoke the kind of emotions that pull her attention back to you, no matter how far she's drifted. Imagine this. You were someone she couldn't stop texting, calling, or trying to see, but now her interest feels lukewarm at best. It's easy to take this personally or panic thinking, what if she never comes back? But the truth is, this is an opportunity. Women are naturally wired to respond to subtle psychological triggers, and if you learn to use these triggers correctly, you can make her long for your presence without saying a single word. This isn't about manipulating her feelings, it's about creating a dynamic where she starts to realize how much she values you. And once she starts to miss you, that craving only grows stronger over time. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking they need to flood her with attention to stay relevant. Here's the thing. Attention that's too accessible loses its value. Think about it. People don't value what's always there. The same logic applies in relationships. If she feels like she has unlimited access to you, the excitement starts to fade, and you quickly become predictable. But when your presence isn't guaranteed, when your attention feels earned rather than given, that's when she starts to realize just how much you matter. She won't miss you because of how available you are. She'll miss you because she doesn't know when she'll hear from you next. Let's paint a clearer picture. Imagine a guy who's always texting her first, checking in with her every few hours, and trying to make sure she feels his presence. At first, she might like the attention. It feels nice to be pursued. But over time, that constant attention becomes expected, routine, and ultimately boring. Now, flip that situation around. Instead of bombarding her with messages, imagine you step back and give her space. She sends you a message, and you don't reply immediately. Maybe you even go a day without responding. Suddenly, she's left wondering, why hasn't he replied yet? Is he busy? Is something happening? That small break in communication plants a seed of curiosity in her mind, which quickly grows into anticipation and longing. The key here is emotional contrast. Women, just like anyone else, respond deeply to changes in emotional states. If things are always predictable, if the emotional temperature never rises or falls, they feel bored. But when there's an ebb and flow, moments of closeness balanced with moments of distance, their emotions heighten and their connection to you intensifies. That's why creating a sense of mystery is one of the most powerful ways to make her miss you. When you pull back and create space, it's not just about physical distance, it's about what happens in her mind. A woman's imagination is her most vulnerable point. When she doesn't know where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with, her mind starts to fill in the blanks. She begins replaying past conversations, thinking about the way you made her feel, and wondering why things have shifted. This uncertainty, when done correctly, can be intoxicating for her. She starts to think, did I do something wrong? Is he losing interest in me? What's changed? This mental loop keeps her focused on you, even when she's trying not to be. The trick is to strike a balance. You're not disappearing completely. You're simply not making yourself overly available. One powerful way to strengthen this dynamic is to focus entirely on yourself. A woman is far more likely to miss a man who seems like he's thriving without her. The idea that you're independent, growing, and unapologetically chasing your own goals creates a magnetic pull. Confidence, after all, is irresistible. But there's something even more compelling: self-sufficiency. When she sees that you're not desperate for her attention, that you can find fulfillment in your own life, it sparks something deep in her psyche. She starts to question why you're so content without her. And trust me, curiosity like that doesn't go away easily. Here's the thing about self-improvement: it's not just for show. When you genuinely start leveling up, whether it's hitting the gym, pursuing a passion, or excelling in your career, it changes the way you carry yourself. That shift in your energy is impossible to fake. Women are highly intuitive. They can sense when a man is confident and comfortable in his own skin. And when they see that, they can't help but be drawn to it. It's almost as if the universe itself is pulling them back towards you. So, the next time you're tempted to waste your time chasing after her, redirect that energy into improving yourself. The results won't just be noticeable, they'll be undeniable. But let's be clear, this isn't about showing off or trying to make her jealous. This is about becoming the kind of man who naturally stands out. A man whose life is so full and exciting that being around him feels like a privilege. That kind of energy is addictive, and it's something she'll miss when you're not there. Think about it. Would you rather be remembered as the guy who begged for her attention, or the one who made her realize she couldn't stop thinking about him? Another psychological dynamic that's often overlooked is social proof. When a woman sees that other people value you, it amplifies your appeal in her eyes. This isn't about dating other women to make her jealous. It's about showing that you're respected and admired in your social circles. Women are naturally drawn to men who are in demand. If she sees that others want to spend time with you or hear your thoughts, she'll start to feel the weight of your absence even more. Imagine this scenario. She's scrolling through her social media and she sees a post of you with friends, laughing and having a great time. You're clearly not sitting at home sulking over her. That image sticks with her because it sends a subtle but powerful message. You're living your life to the fullest, with or without her. And the less available you seem, the more she'll crave to be part of your world again. This ties back to an important concept: scarcity creates value. If something is readily available, it's easy to take it for granted. But when access feels limited, when she starts to see you as a man who's hard to reach, it triggers a fear of loss. That's why you should never be too quick to answer her texts or rearrange your plans for her. A little bit of unpredictability keeps her on her toes, and that emotional tension keeps you firmly on her mind. Now, let's talk about the importance of exuding emotional control. This one is crucial. Emotional stability is something women are highly drawn to because it signals to them that you're a man who is steady, who has his life in order, and who won't get swayed by temporary emotions. Think about it. When you react to a situation with high emotional intensity, whether it's frustration, anxiety, or excessive joy, you lose control of the narrative. And losing that control can often make you seem unreliable, unstable, or immature. But when you remain calm, collected, and emotionally secure, you become someone who can't easily be tossed around by moods, and she'll respect you for that. This does not mean being cold or unfeeling. Far from it. This is about being in charge of your emotions, not letting her or anything else make you shift from your center. Women respond to emotional control in a huge way. It triggers an almost primal response in them. Someone who has their emotions intact is someone they can trust and feel safe around. They respect the fact that you aren't desperate for validation, that you don't feel the need to chase after them constantly, or appear as though their approval is the air you breathe. And when this control is coupled with your life being vibrant and full, it gets even more potent because the combination of emotional stability, self sufficiency, and living a fulfilling life shows her that you have an inner strength she can admire and feel drawn to. But why does emotional control specifically make a woman miss you? It's because it disrupts the usual emotional chaos that most people live through. In many relationships, you often see both people depending on each other to fill the void of boredom, fear, or anxiety. But when you're not this source of emotional turbulence, you create an unexpected calm, which paradoxically makes her want to hold on to you and keep you around. If she starts to realize that with you, she has to do some emotional work to get your attention, whether it's calling, texting, or offering support. This challenge becomes emotionally engaging. You're no longer the person who gets easily swayed by whatever happens in the moment. This is one of the most attractive traits you can have because it signals that you're not easily manipulated. That makes women value your attention even more. Have you noticed how attractive those who exude calmness and self control are? They're less likely to be blown off course by the trivialities that might otherwise throw you into a frenzy. This trait puts you on another level, one that few men can achieve. To really drive her wild with the desire to miss you, practice emotional control when the temptation arises. Learn to walk away in a situation that would have caused you stress before, maintain your calm, and observe how the dynamics shift. Trust me, she'll start to see you as the man who is secure in who he is, and that alone will get you out of the friend zone and into the mystery zone, where things like attraction and desire build naturally. The last piece of the puzzle that will make her miss you like crazy is creating emotional tension without making her feel anxious. This is the most powerful technique in the game because it's all about manipulating emotions without giving too much away. Let's break this down a little. Creating tension doesn't mean playing games or causing drama just for the sake of it. It's about withholding enough to keep her thinking and feeling drawn to you, but not so much that it sends her into confusion or stress. One of the key ingredients here is subtle mystery. You don't have to tell her everything about your day or what you're thinking or where you're going every minute of the day. You're giving just enough for her to stay curious without getting a clear picture of your every move. It could be as simple as being a little more unpredictable with how often you check in, or not always texting her back right away. Giving her space to think about you, wonder how you're doing, and make her own assumptions will build tension in her mind and stir up emotions that only you can fill. The psychological tension caused by that feeling of wanting more creates an emotional void, which is incredibly powerful because humans naturally want to close those gaps, and this is where the magic happens. When she feels that tension building, she'll start to miss you because the human brain hates unresolved feelings. The mystery of not knowing where you stand or what you're doing creates a longing inside her. She'll be sitting there wondering why you haven't texted back yet, or why your last message had a slightly different vibe, or why you're not calling as often as before. This will automatically make her question herself, what did I miss? When your interactions feel less like a routine and more like something she has to work for, she'll start to crave that connection even more intensely. At the same time, the goal here is to keep it fun and lighthearted, not to create real discomfort. The difference between tension and stress is huge. Stress causes anxiety, while tension adds excitement. It's the same feeling you get when you're left hanging during a conversation or after a brief interaction that left her wanting more. That's the sweet spot. A lot of men fall into the trap of oversharing or over-explaining everything, which completely ruins the thrill of the chase. Instead, hold back just enough so she starts to feel a little rush of anticipation every time she talks to you. As you create this emotional tension, balance it out by making your moments together feel special, making her feel like the time spent with you is valuable and unique. Make her feel like every time you interact, she's uncovering just a little bit more of the mystery that makes you so compelling. If you play this just right, you will not only become someone she looks forward to seeing, but you'll become the one person she can't stop thinking about. Now, here's the deal. None of these 7 tips can work if you don't commit fully to the process. You can't dabble with them. You've got to integrate them into your life. They won't happen overnight. But once you've established this balance of self-sufficiency, emotional control, and subtle mystery, you'll create a dynamic in which she'll constantly crave your attention. When she starts missing you, you won't have to ask yourself whether she's into you because the proof will be in the way she chases after you and values your presence. To summarize, there's a science behind getting her to miss you. And when you apply these 7 tips, creating space, showcasing self-sufficiency, maintaining emotional control, and adding subtle tension, you're taking a massive leap towards having her become emotionally hooked and invested in you. Do it the right way, and soon enough, you'll have a woman who can't get enough of you, who's always thinking about your next move, and who craves the attention you're only willing to give on your terms. So next time you find yourself tempted to overchase or pour everything into a relationship too soon, remind yourself that mystery, balance, and emotional restraint are the real keys to making her miss you and keeping her coming back. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe and check out the next video to learn more.